All right, let's talk Michigan Wolverines football here a little bit. Look, this team has been in the news over the past week or so for not the best of reasons, but I don't think I'll have any serious effect on this program long term. Talk on the Harbaugh situation, but there is good news on the horizon, especially on the field. It looks like the Wolverines have an impressive young athlete that's been added to the team this offseason that's already making strides and impressing a lot of his teammates. This is great news for the people up in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, Nick, I think this young player on Michigan's roster is the reason why this Harbaugh move will not affect them, because they are so talented. I think this is a team that has talent out the wazoo. They are absolutely incredibly stacked at every position. So Michigan fans will love this story today. But of all of the talented players, Nick, I want to ask the fans today in the comments below, Wolverines fans, who's going to be the breakout candidate this year? Who's the guy that nobody's seeing? Who's going to come out and really just impress everybody this season? Let us know in the comments below who is your breakout candidate. But Nick, let's get on into it. Who's this young guy that's absolutely impressing everybody?
Yeah, it looks like DJ Waller may be the breakout candidate that everyone's talking about. DJ Waller Jr., DeJuan Waller Jr., however he prefers to go by. There's a lot of great news out of Michigan fall practice that he's made a great name for himself, and a lot of his teammates have noticed him as well. Of mine, so we got a report from it from Wolverine Wire. If you can pull it up, I will read from it. All right, Nickel Mike Sainristil, excuse me, totally butchered his name there. Apologies there. Mike has a little more familiarity with DJ Waller as the former three-star and late addition from Ohio is in his position group. Waller has garnered praise as of late in fall camp, and Sainristil explains exactly why there's some newfound excitement about the player from Youngstown. DJ Waller, I think for his size, he's very freaky, Sainristil said. Like, he moves very well for his size. He runs better than people might think because of his size. And for him, I feel like once he does understand that, once he does get the overall concept of our defense, and once it slows down for him, he's going to be a really special player here. All right, I really like this report because this was a kid, this was a three-star recruit that when he committed and obviously arrived at Michigan, I didn't really think that much of it. I thought, maybe a nice player, maybe a solid developmental prospect, special teams guy. But the more I hear and what the reports are out of Ann Arbor, and I look at this kid and what he could potentially become, this is a guy who could potentially be, I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but sort of an athletic counterpoint to the athletic receivers in college football, specifically at Ohio State. He has the size and the speed, and he played wide receiver in high school. He could be the defensive back that can counter some of those incredible athletes that a team like Ohio State has. And that's really one of the key things that no one in college football has figured out yet. Michigan has obviously beaten Ohio State the past couple seasons, but they've done it, in my opinion, more with pass rush on defense and running the ball down Ohio State's throat on offense. They still have had issues at times covering their receivers because who hasn't? Ohio State's absolutely stacked at wide receiver. But if you have a guy that's a former receiver in that regard who is just as athletically gifted as those receivers, there you go. That's your checkmate against a team like Ohio State. I think this could be a sneaky good playmaker. And if he continues to build confidence, I think the Wolverines may have potentially stumbled upon a great defensive weapon here. But Miles, let me throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on these comments and just everything involving Michigan right now?
Yeah, Nick, I think from top to bottom, this player is very, very intriguing. You go back to his scouting report. They talk about, right now, ideally, he's a safety. He could come, transform into a corner, but he also could put on a little bit of size, be like a hybrid linebacker. It seems like this is a guy that can fill many, many different roles from this team. And I think, like you said, this is a steal. This is just a few hours away from Jim Harbaugh's hometown in Toledo, Youngstown, not too far away, just 2 hours. So maybe the inside scoop on a guy like this, because it's already showing like this guy was an absolute steal. Coming in as a three-star, people might have underrated him just a little bit. They're able to go into Ohio, grab this guy, and come out, and it's already proving dividends, making moves like this. You like a guy like Sanristril, or however you pronounce it, Nick. I butchered it as well, so I'm no saint here. But I think the talent is obvious. I think a guy like Waller coming into camp, already showing out, this is going to be a special player. This is the kind of guy that you like to see in your camp, Nick. What do you think about that?
Well, these are always the prospects that kind of fly under the radar a little bit. He's a three-star guy, wasn't a huge recruit in terms of the top flight guys that Michigan has gotten over the past couple seasons, but they can be difference makers. And I always say sometimes these recruiting programs, these analyses, 24/7 Sports On3, they do a phenomenal job, but there are guys they miss. It happens all the time. And there's a chance they missed out on something special here. And these are the kind of guys that get missed. The guys that are kind of just do a little bit of everything in high school. They play receiver, they play DB, they run track. They're not like a specialized player yet. They don't get all the elite coaching yet because they're doing so many different things. They're from a smaller program potentially. Yet when they get to big time football, in this case, get to Michigan, they get that great coaching. They get that specialized development. And suddenly pair that with their incredible athletic tools, they become superstars, especially since they're balanced because he played offense, defense, other sports, things like that. These are the kind of prospects in Waller here that can really become massive recruiting steals. I think there's a great chance Michigan stumble upon one here, and this is a guy to watch, Wolverines fans.